Today we're going to be taking a look at 75442, The Mandalorian's N-1 Starfighter. This set just released on May 1st with 1,809 pieces and a retail price of $250, which happens to be $20 more than the last UCS Starfighter that released in 2024, that being the TIE Interceptor, and $10 more than the UCS X-Wing that released in 2023. However, the reason for this price increase is most likely due to the drum lacquer chrome pieces included in this set, which we will take a look at here in a minute. Now, as it goes for the front box art, as you can tell, it's just your standard UCS art style with a big, nice picture of the model right in the front. You're also going to find a cool picture of it on the top of the box, another one on the side of the box, and then of course another big one on the back of the box. That's going to show its stand and plaque along with the Mandalorian and Grogu minifigures. At the bottom left, you're going to have some dimensions of the build, and then at the very bottom, you're going to have a row of various different pictures showing off the set's functionalities along with pictures of the actual vehicle in universe. Now, before we actually crack open the box and dig into the set, one thing I have to talk about is that this set's existence in general is honestly kind of frustrating. And the reason I say that is because I'm pretty sure a lot of us at this point are very fatigued by the amount of Mandalorian sets LEGO is releasing, and it's not even just because of the movie. They've been releasing non-stop Mandalorian sets since the show came out. And despite me making a video in 2024 literally predicting that this set would be made in May of 2026, seeing it in person and actually seeing my prediction come into reality is still just a bit underwhelming, because it's like, oh, it's another Mandalorian set. We already got countless other Mandalorian sets this year, and now even the May UCS set is from the Mandalorian. And releasing a UCS set alongside a new Star Wars movie is actually something LEGO hasn't ever done before. We didn't get a UCS set for any of the sequel movies in the 2010s, and we obviously didn't get one for Rogue One and Solo either, so the fact we're getting one for the Mandalorian really does show how hard LEGO and Disney are trying to push this. On the bright side though, this set definitely does look really good, and out of all the Mandalorian sets that have released in 2026, this is probably going to be the best one. But still, if it were up to me, and honestly probably a lot of you guys as well, I probably would have picked almost any other Star Wars Starfighter for this year's May 1st UCS set over this one right here. But now actually digging into the box itself, on the inside you're going to find 16 separate numbered bags, along with the display plaque, 2 larger wire pieces, the cockpit windshield piece in its own separate paper bag, a sticker sheet with 19 separate stickers on it, and then lastly, of course, your instruction manual. And in typical UCS set fashion, on the first few pages of the instruction manual, there is a lot of information about the set's design, the designers of the set, the ship in Star Wars, along with lots of cool pictures and artwork that you can pause and read and look at if you want to. Moving on to the 2 minifigures in this set, that of course being the Mandalorian and Grogu, and they are honestly not very exciting. The Mandalorian is the new movie version of him with the new leg print, and it's the exact same one we've seen in sets like the AT-RT along with the Razor Crest. Again, nothing really exciting aside from the leg print. It's the same figure we've been seeing for years, which is fine. I mean, it's a very highly detailed figure that does look good. However, I'm not gonna lie, I do wish they would have made him exclusive somehow and made him different, just to make it a little bit more exciting considering the fact this is a $250 set, but I guess it is what it is. Here we have Grogu, and this is the new Grogu mold that we have seen in multiple sets at this point. It's definitely a good figure, a significant upgrade from the older one, but other than that, I don't really have much to say because we've seen it in quite a few sets at this point. Overall, this minifigure lineup is really nothing to go crazy over. I mean, they did the bare minimum. They included the Mandalorian and Grogu. However, like I said, for $250, I think it would have been nice to get some type of exclusive Mandalorian, but again, it is what it is. But now actually moving on to the build itself, it for the most part looks really good. I mean, it's a UCS set. As you guys know, UCS sets usually have a high standard when it comes to quality and detail, and I think for the most part, from afar at least, this one definitely meets the standard. The chrome pieces are beautiful, and the way it's held up on the display stand looks very dynamic and sleek. Now, when it comes to putting this set's size into perspective, here is the UCS TIE Interceptor from 2024 that retails for $230, $20 cheaper, and at first glimpse, this new Naboo Starfighter definitely does look a bit larger, just in terms of how much space the set itself takes up, but the TIE Interceptor is obviously a lot bulkier, it's a lot taller, and just a lot beefier in general, and honestly, I couldn't really tell if there actually does feel like there's a $20 difference between these two sets, so because of that, I just ended up weighing them, and as you can see here, the TIE Interceptor weighs 1,576 grams, and this new UCS Naboo Starfighter comes out to 1,347 grams. So yeah, I guess there's your answer right there in terms of which set is actually bigger. And then if you're curious, here's what it looks like next to the $300 UCS Slave 1 that released last year in 2025. Now, like I mentioned towards the beginning of the video, the chrome pieces definitely might play a role in why this set is so expensive. And I have to say, these definitely are very premium feeling pieces. They look incredible and they definitely are very shiny, maybe not as shiny as the original chrome pieces, but they still get the job done. And in the designer interview, the designer for this set actually did say it's it's harder to get chrome pieces approved for sets because they have a higher tolerance for manufacturing and they're just overall more expensive to produce. And you know, at first I was a bit skeptical of that, but now actually having the set in person and seeing all of these pieces, they definitely do feel a bit more expensive than just the normal pieces. So in that area, I'm going to give LEGO the benefit of the doubt. But despite the chrome looking good, one thing that's not acceptable for $250 are these stickers, because almost all of them are miscolored. As you can see here, the gray of the stickers is slightly darker than the gray of the pieces, and if you look for too long, they kind of stick out like a sore thumb. And what's crazy about this is that, as you guys know, on the Razor Crest that I just reviewed, LEGO seemed to have actually fixed the sticker problems. The stickers in that set were the right color and they matched the pieces. And I wasn't the only reviewer that pointed this out, a lot of reviewers pointed this out. However, with this new N-1 Starfighter, it looks like they've gone back to being miscolored. And it's even worse because this is a UCS set for $250. This isn't a normal play set. And I mean, for comparison, here is one of those pieces from the Razor Crest I just mentioned, and as you can see, the sticker on it is the right color. It almost blends in perfectly with the actual piece. But nope, not on this N-1 Starfighter, the stickers are a little bit darker. So I mean, it's just like, what the heck, LEGO? What are we doing here? You fixed the stickers on the Razor Crest, but you can't fix them on this N-1 Starfighter that released a week later. It just doesn't make sense. And I mean, in my opinion, UCS sets in general should have all printed pieces and no stickers, just to get a more premium feeling for the prices you're paying. But nope, they can't do that, and they can't even color the stickers correctly either. Regardless though, in the front here, you're going to see lots of great shaping with the chrome pieces curving down, and then the cannons kind of running straight off over the edge. However, one thing that kind of annoys me about this area is this little lip right here. It's kind of distracting, and I think it honestly kind of takes away from the overall sleekness of this area, especially when you look at pictures of the actual N1 in the universe. It's a lot sleeker in this front portion right here. And what doesn't make sense to me is that it's a very easy fix. These two slope pieces at the very bottom just need to be raised up one plate, and then there will be a kind of a seamless transition sloping down. But no, for some reason they designed it with the little lip right there, and it just doesn't make sense since it's so easy to fix. Towards the side here, there are these slope pieces sticking out that give it a very jagged look. They almost look like teeth, which I think is cool. And then from there, you're going to notice that the chrome pieces obviously don't go all the way back. They kind of stop like 2/3 of the way up the front section. And this actually is relatively accurate. If you look at pictures of the ship, the front section is significantly shinier than the back section. And it seems like LEGO replicated that pretty much perfectly here, which I think is awesome. And then right behind the chrome section, you're going to have the engine, and aside from the sticker on the top, I think it looks incredible. I love the detail and the angling of these pieces right here. They just did a really good job. And then on the sides of the ship, you're of course going to have the engine thrusters themselves, which are beautiful. As you can see here, they're actually really long, a lot longer than I was expecting them to be, and they were also fairly challenging to put together too, but the end result just looks really good. They have a very detailed and kind of rustic, worn down feeling because that's what this ship is supposed to be, especially the engine on the right side here. It clearly looks very torn apart and old, which I love. And then inside the engines, you're actually going to find some printed pieces, which are supposed to be the actual turbine of the engine itself, I guess. And it's definitely kind of ridiculous that these are the only printed pieces in this set, but hey, at least they're not stickers. And then on the back sides of the engines, you're going to see a little blue transparent piece in there. It's honestly kind of hard to see, but it pokes out just enough to add some detail, and you can kind of tell there's a thruster right there. The shaping of the area in between the cockpit and the front section looks amazing. The slight curvature is beautiful, and this section was really fun to put together. As you can see, it's also loaded with detail, even making use of some super battle droid arms on the left side right here, which I think is awesome. To access the cockpit, the windshield piece simply just pops off, and the windshield piece itself looks really good. I'm not sure if it's exclusive or not. I think it might be, but regardless, the shaping is nice, although it does have a sticker on it. And then the actual interior of the cockpit itself is gorgeous. As you can see here, you've got the brown seating along with two handles that stick out the sides for steering, and then you also have a stickered control panel in there as well, which, like I mentioned earlier, I think it should be printed, but it definitely looks better than all the other stickers in this set. However, what's kind of ridiculous about this cockpit is that you actually can't fit Mando on the inside. As you can see here, when you sit him down, and even when you lean him back, you literally can't put the windshield piece back on because his head sticks up too far. You can fit Grogu into his little pod in the back just fine. You kind of have to meander it a little bit to get it around his ears, but for the most part, he fits in there just fine. But nope, not Mando. You literally can't sit him in the cockpit. And I mean, it's not like this necessarily matters because it's an oversized starfighter, but I still was honestly kind of shocked to see that you can't fit him in the cockpit. I just think that's kind of funny. Regardless though, the shaping behind the cockpit directly under Grogu's pod is absolutely gorgeous. As you can see here, there's so many different angles going on and so many different unique techniques being used. This is honestly probably one of the best looking parts of the entire build. The angles are just really nice. And then directly under that, it's kind of hard to get on camera, but you have the third engine thruster. And compared to the rest of the build, it actually does have a relatively simple design, but it still looks really good. Moving on further down the back from the cockpit, you're going to find more of those awful looking stickers that I pointed out earlier. Again, this is just insane for a UCS set. I mean, I don't know how much more I have to point it out. These need to be printed. I mean, I think UCS sets should have all printed pieces, like I said. But regardless, at the very back, you're going to have the back tail fin, which, unlike the section I just covered, actually looks really good. It's very simple, it has a lot of detail, and it definitely gives the ship its iconic Naboo Starfighter look. And then lastly, for the actual ship itself, this is what the bottom side looks like. There's really not anything to look at, but if you were curious, this is what it looks like. And then lastly, here we have the stand and display plaque, and it's definitely not anything crazy, just your average looking UCS set stand that gets the job done. Obviously, it's going to be able to hold both the figures, and it has a big, nice printed plaque that you can pause and read if you want to. And connecting it to the ship is very simple and straightforward. There's just a hole in the bottom that you pretty much just slide it into. However, one thing that's really cool about it is that you can actually sit the Starfighter on it facing in multiple different directions, which of course gives you a variety of different display options, which I think is really fun. Or if you for some reason don't want it on the display stand, you can literally just take it off and sit it down flat on a table, which is something that you usually can't do with UCS sets or they'll fall apart. So I guess if you want to display it like this, you can. Maybe if you have some restraints with the amount of space you have or something. But then there we have it. That is the entire LEGO Star Wars UCS N-1 Starfighter. Do I think it looks really good and is a great display piece? Yes. Do I think it's worth $250? For the most part, actually I do. Again, the chrome pieces are very premium feeling, and then the set itself is also very large. It's just the only thing holding back its price point are the stickers, in my opinion. I think they should be all printed pieces, or at least just look better than they do. But despite the set for the most part looking good, I honestly still don't really think this should exist. Like I said towards the beginning, I think we all have Mandalorian fatigue at this point, and also like I said at the beginning, I think I would have chosen probably any other Star Wars Starfighter to be made into a UCS set over this one. But of course, LEGO just had to do it for the movie. But regardless, despite me thinking it necessarily shouldn't have been made, it is a great looking set. So if I had to give it a rating, I think I'm feeling a solid 7.5 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think about this set down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the screen right now.